Hello, it's CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And yeah, basically, I'm here just to randomly talk about some things to sum up what I've been talking about, basically. I'll start with dinner. I had a brisket the other day, and my sister came over and we had a really, really fun time. And so I had like a little bit of leftover brisket and some leftover white rice from that dinner. And so basically, I've taken the brisket with some of the onions from the pan, and I have broken it, and I put it into the uh, white rice, and basically, and then I've taken uh, some chicken wings, and I love chicken wings, and I put them in the balsamic reduction. Now, with the brisket reduction, so it's going to be interesting. But those flavors, it's primarily that balsamic vinegar sweetness flavor and everything like that that's coming through. So I did not feel like reusing uh, to give the chicken wings a good flavor as it's braising. I didn't feel like that would be. I felt like it would be an addition versus. I didn't feel like there would be like a. I didn't feel like I'd have like beef flavored chicken or anything like that. Otherwise, I would have done it. Plus, when it's done, it's going to be like that real sweetness because there is a sweetness to this with no additional sugar on my part, but it's sweet. What I've done here is some crystal hot sauce. This is, people love Tabasco. This is a very similar Tabasco product, but I love it because it actually has a more nuanced flavor. While being very similar to Tabasco, it has a very nuanced flavor, and this is actually made in Louisiana, the actual state of Louisiana. Um, Metairie. It's made in Metairie, Louisiana, as a matter of fact. So, bifocals, they don't work. I don't know why I keep letting them give me the bifocals. They don't work for crap. Um, no, nope, useless. So anyway, yeah, I prefer the crystal hot sauce, and it's going to be great. And so that's going to be my dinner. But Shreveport, in this surrounding area and everything, we have a unique position because we're kind of in the corner, uh, northwest corner, and so it's kind of like we're a little bit near Arkansas. We're a little bit near Texas and Shreveport, so we get some of the best from three states. We've got a little bit of Oklahoma, just a smidgen of Oklahoma in this area in our television viewing stations, our local areas call it the Arklatex. I don't think it's a specific mapped geographical location, but that area, it's the Arklatex, that I'm in, and it's great. While Shreveport itself doesn't have like a Shreveport cuisine, we're not known for anything Shreveport, but we have we're so close to cuisine with influence from many different cultures from the that diversity that's what we have here. We have a wide array. We have everything from Italian food, authentic Italian food, by the way, to seafood that's indigenous to the Gulf, and to ooh, we have a Dominican restaurant that I've been to a couple of times. It's pretty good. We have, um, obviously we have some Cajun influences and a lot of American diners. We do those well. Everywhere in America, we do our diners. Yeah. So come check us out. Okay, so moving on from food, I'm excited about that. I'm just passing the time until I can eat because it's like it's going to be my big meal. I've been fasting since last night, so it's like, uh, yeah, it's going to be good to eat. And I'm not really going to eat until close to midnight, maybe that 11 a.m. or something like that. So, um, Okay, so I went to the Alice Cooper concert. That's really really great. You guys know that I love metal music. Anything that shock rock and everything. And I took my sister and my nephew, and it was like my sister's first time seeing Alice Cooper, and my nephew's first time seeing like a big concert like that, and both of them were floored with how great the production was. Even the content of it, because it is shock rock and everything like that. Lots of videos. At one point they actually uh, chop his head off in a guillotine. Like he lays his head in the guillotine. He's moving. It's him. And then they chop his head off, and we do not know. And then, I don't know. I was like, what are they doing? Cloning him? They have another one of him backstage that they clone just for the beheading? I don't know. It's a very authentic illusion. Hmm. There's one way that they could do it. One way that they could do it. But there's probably a lot of ways they could do it. I mean, you can guillotine someone, and it's an angled blade, so it doesn't actually come down and hit the neck anyway. But because I've been in that magic show where my head was in a guillotine and it did not get chopped off, although the blade came all the way down. But it's you see those things that's at an angle. But um, this time the dude's head got chopped off, bro. And yeah, whatever. So anyway, it's cool. Great show. You know what I love about guitar-based music anyway? Just my favorite era of this was in the mid '80s, going into the early '90s, before it kind of gave way to grunge. Which, aside from Pearl Jam got some. They kind of get me in a place that I'm familiar with it. But a lot of grunge, even though it sounded good, a lot of it was kind of sad. Whereas the metal that came before that was. Even if it was angst, even if there was angst behind it, and and protest and stuff like that, there was reason for it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, hey, we wasn't like we're angry, but there's nothing we can do. That was grunge. We're angry. We don't we're hopeless. We don't know what to do. That was a lot of grunge, and then but with yeah, and I'm so down on me. I'm so down on myself. Blah blah blah. Especially the Kurt Cobain kind of thing. That was But then we get to. But before that, it was like no. It was a lot of. If there was need for protest, it was protest. But mostly, it was like just party. Have a good time, relax. Go for it. Do you. You know, be what you want to be. Dream it. All that kind of good stuff. So that was. Uh, I love that. And then there's a tribute band coming, LA Rocks. They're going to Bossier City. I love these guys. I've seen them a couple of times in Bossier City, once or twice in Texarkana. They haven't been here in a couple of years because they tour. They tour. And the lead, Chris DeVille, it started out being like a project that he did with some people, and then actually he's the owner of the company that puts on this show, this band, and it's like it's pretty darn authentic. They're not imitators. They don't come on, and he doesn't put on a I'm uh, pretending to be Bon Jovi. I'm not a Bon Jovi. He's not an impersonator, but they do a straight up great set, a solid set. Music from Poison, Motley Crue. Uh, uh, do they do some Cinderella? I don't know. They should do Nobody's Fool, Cinderella, whatever. They're more into the like uh, more up tempo kind of stuff because it is about partying and having a good time and everything like that. They do a lot of outdoor venues and small venues and everything. They're a tribute to arena rock, but they really uh, do like moderate size venues. But yeah, man, it's great. People love it when they go. Whenever I go, it's like you know I go all '80s out. You know what I mean? For real. We say '80s out. A lot of Bon Jovi. A lot of these things came out in the mid '80s, but they were moving towards the '90s. So you could do anywhere from your '80s to your '90s. Uh, and get some of this going on. But yeah, we have a lot. We have a lot of shows. Firehouse. And I shouldn't. It's not the original band Firehouse, but the reason why he stopped playing is he has suffered. The singer, I forget his name, he had a back injury, and that laid him up for a while. Now Firehouse did this wonderful song uh, called "I'll Never Let You Go." Okay, and it was like if you hear it, if you listen to it on YouTube or something, you'll be like, "Oh my god!" Well, the guy still sounds that wonderful. But here's the thing: they came touring, and I didn't hear about it. And they were playing at the Shrevetown, which is an outdoor venue just a couple of blocks from me. And I didn't know it until about 10 minutes before showtime. And I just did not have the money to go see this guy. Otherwise, I would have been there because that song is actually one of my favorite songs, and it's one of the best guitar-based hair metal band songs of all time. I'll Never Let You Go from Firehouse. If you don't know it, check it out. I've been to some movies. Guardians of the Galaxy Part Three, liked it. It's a transition movie. It's not the end of these characters, but it is a transition. And then I got my book, my novel in V, East Coast Crisis. I could have already been finished with it by now. Even though when I was a kid, I used to get these things and I'd buy them and I would read them uh, within 2 days. Like I'd start reading them and they'd make me go to sleep and I'd wake up. And if it was summertime, I would finish the book the next day. And then I would be like, wah, 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 and I got to wait like 2 months for something else to come out or something. Because I used to be an avid reader, and I want to get back into that. And so, to get back into that, I'm going to jumpstart my desire to be a reader, a more avid reader, by reading the things that I love to read when I loved to read, and segue that into more mature reading. Actually, I also love some of the classics, Dante's Inferno being one of my favorite. Okay, so anyway, but yeah, the characters here. This runs parallel to the invasion story that was told in 1980s V miniseries and TV series. And the one thing I will say now, I think they want us to know, hey, we're going to get the same high melodrama that was a little bit soap opera ish by the time that this book was written because the TV show had kind of like part workplace soap opera melodrama and then part uh, action sequences, with resistance fighters, uh, having fist fights and ducking bullets and things like that, and sometimes a pretty cool explosion or two. But they'd gotten away from the big effects that made the big explosions and stuff like that made that made it such a winning series. It was a budgetary thing that basically uh, killed this program because it's a very expensive program to do. When they came back in 2009 and they were going to do a version of the story and they were going to do it, it was a very expensive show to do with the effects and everything. And that's, if they had found a way to do it well, equally well, in some, and maybe if they went a little practical instead of the CGI. The CGI, the effects in that 2009, 2010 remake, um, it suffered because they didn't look real. They looked corny. They didn't look, at least the practical effects where they're like, swallowing a gerbil or something in the 1980s or whatever. I mean, it didn't always look realistic, but in a way, it was like um, it looked more real than it looked cartoonish. Which is what the 2009 when the alien visitor went to like eat something, and it was a CGI and a whole bunch of teeth just came out of nowhere, and the females they had a tail. Uh, it doesn't look. I mean, I'll tell you something else too. Kenneth Johnson was gonna do the sequel in 2009. That V, the Next Generation, is sort of uh, based on V. The Next Generation was the book I read a couple of months ago when it came in, and so basically the same characters. And what happens is they've sent out a distress signal, and then another race of aliens comes to help Earth fend off. And then, of course, the end of it. Hey, are these new aliens? Are they our friends? Yes or no? Kind of you kind of think that maybe they are, but then it also kind of leads room for could there be something else? But anyway, um, what was that? Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Let's see what time. Yeah, to check my these bifocals don't do a damn thing for me because I always forget I have to. It's easier just to look with my eyes sometimes than through glasses. Okay, so I love this franchise. This book right here, it starts out with uh, as the ships are making an ascent into the solar system, passing Pluto. There's you know, you know, two people on the ship, two females on the ship, and they're like addressing each other. And one has a momentary where she kind of like is being addressed, but she's like, "Oh, you know what? Excuse me, forgive me. For a moment, I had just had a blank. I had just forgotten my human name." And so they have a, you know, uh, back and forth about that. Oh well, maybe you're just too young to be in this high position that you're in. Uh, Second or third leader on the ship or something like that, and they're going back and forth. So it's two ladies like cutting each other like eyes back and forth, taking squabbles at each other, and then of course uh, a patriarchal leader comes over and kind of like settles their little squabble, and he's like, "Hey, it's been a long flight. We're just like la la la," you know. But so it kind of like talks, opens up on the ship as kind of like a prologue as they're approaching, and then from there that's a different thing. That's something new. And then it goes to the New York, different people in the New York area, uh, and starts talking about what they're doing, their little regular day to day things, and then all of a sudden that gets disrupted by the emergence of this ship over New York City, and what does it mean and everything. So I'm still in that part, and so the first whole first chapter, the epilogue, and then the whole first chapter is all about that. And I haven't really gotten past that yet. I'm going to, but I'm trying to savor this and read it kind of slow so I can milk out my enjoyment with it. Um, because after these stories, the novels get all about hey, it's just action and a little bit of soap opera and everything like that. But the wonderment, the mystery behind what's going on, the Arthur C. Clarkeness of it, if you will, kind of gets lost in the familiarity of it. So uh, that's why some things are wonderful, but then they don't necessarily. If there's not a, it's not there's not a constant reveal, if there's not a peeling back of the nuances of a story, then somehow it gets milked dry. But yeah, what else are we gonna do? What else are we gonna talk about? I guess not that much. I want to hear about some of your towns. I want to hear about some of what you love to do, um, and some of your passions. And yeah, I may go visit. I want to go see a Stevie Nicks concert. Stevie Nicks with Billy Joel, and I want to see them in Dallas. But the ticket prices are astronomical, so I may take advantage and I may plan a trip to Kansas City. I don't know. My friend lives in Kansas City, Missouri, and the ticket prices are a lot less expensive at the venue up there. So maybe I can go see the show in Kansas City, Missouri, and then stay there for a couple of days and then come back because even the bus tickets, because I travel by bus rather than plane, uh, you know, for the same price as a bus ticket up here, I could go up there and get travel expenses and a concert ticket for the same price, and then the only thing I'd be out of is maybe like 1 or 2 nights in a motel or something like that. Um, uh, so it'd be a little bit more expensive, but I'd get an actual vacation out of it instead of like one night. I don't know. there's then I could do if I did it here, I could take my sister who loves Stevie Nicks, but these tickets are just way too. They're kind of expensive over in Dallas. I don't know what they're thinking, but anyway. Um, Aside from that, I've gone on for about 20 minutes. I love you guys. And I want to hear about your stuff. I want to hear about your lives. I want to know if you've got YouTube channels. Let me know where I can check them out. I want to check out your stuff too. I want to, you know, uh, connect and network and talk about our lives and the things that we love and the things that make us happy. Have a good night. Love and light. Bye.